A lot of very cool people here, a lot of really big names, really cool to get to be here and meet everybody. My name is Drew, and I want to talk about peer moderation on Bluesky and ATproto. Content moderation is really hard, is extremely hard, as we heard kind of earlier today, and as I'm sure a lot of you people know. But it's also extremely important. So I want to talk about kind of lowering barriers to let more people in to contribute and help with that process. I do back-end development at a policy research firm. Not the fun part. I'm also in grad school at CU Boulder. I work with Nathan Schneider, and he does a lot of work, really cool work on cooperatives and decentralized power structures and organizational structures and stuff like that, and that's really cool. And so that's what this talk is about, is applying those concepts to the decisions of moderation and labeling posts. First, I'll describe sort of the thing that I've been working on, which is really just some basic little building blocks and Lego pieces. And then I'll talk a bit about the motivation behind that and kind of why it might make sense to explore. It's why it's something that I want to explore. One of the core pieces for this is modularity. I think, and especially with ATproto, that's one of the really big ideas is building small pieces that we can put together rather than trying to do everything all at once. I don't want to be the one doing all of the moderation. I don't think anyone wants to do that. And so part of that is separating out between people participating and the actual decisions that labelers are making. What PMsky does, PMsky, I have two lexicon types that I've settled on for now. The proposal type is basically the same thing as a label, where it has a URI that it points to and then a value that is what the label, the text of the label actually is. And then I also have votes, where anyone can vote on one of those proposals. And so these votes, because they're ATproto records, exist separately. They're on the part of the PMsky platform, but you can write a labeler separately that then uses this information, takes this into account when it's making that decision of, okay, is this a label that I should apply to this post? So again, I'm going to describe kind of how it works, and then I'll go into some of the motivation why. So step one, you're scrolling and you see a post, and you're like, wow, that's a post. It should really have this label. And so you would go over to PMsky and propose a label onto that platform, which creates the ATproto record. Somebody else might be scrolling, and then they see that proposal of saying, oh, this post should have this label, and they might agree or disagree with it. You might see parallels with other social media platforms, which obviously there's a lot of inspiration being pulled from. And so they submit that vote, and that record gets published. Now, separately, there's a labeler that is watching those records, sees that there is some consensus about, oh, hey, this label belongs on this post. However, consensus is defined that is dependent on the labeler. I think different contexts have different use cases, whether that's a simple majority or some more complex definition. But again, modularity, you split that out, and labelers can define that however they want to. Once there is some consensus, though, they can publish that back to Bluesky, just like how any other labeler would do it. And then a different user might see that label that has been decided not by the company or a specific user, but by a wider public consensus. Yeah, those are the moving pieces. That's how this works. Why introduce this indirection, redirection? Yeah, why would we want to do this? Well, I think it's just taking composable moderation kind of another step further. The traditional, well, moderation is really hard because you have different perspectives on a post. You know, you might try to apply generic rules, but that doesn't always work, and things are going to slip through the cracks. If you have something that has a 99.9% success rate, 5 million posts a day, you still have 5,000 posts every day that are slipping through your rules. So the traditional model is you have the company sitting at the middle, and they're the ones in charge of making that decision of whether, I mean, in this case, whether a post gets labeled or just the moderation decisions are centralized within that company. And this exacerbates the issues of scale and also the perspective issues, because it also introduces accountability problems and incentive problems where the company is able to hide or promote content from things that it doesn't like as a company or politics that it doesn't like. So it's a bad idea to couple those things. And that doesn't drive well with the world without Caesars ethos that AtProto is trying to promote. And so we have composable moderation, which is really cool because anyone can create labels and apply labels and define them. You have third-party labelers. I think it's a really great innovation, one of the really big flagship features of Bluesky, I think, because it helps the problem with scale, because now you have the ability for more people to participate in that. And also the perspective issue where you can have more niche labelers that are more well-equipped to deal with the specific labeling that you're concerned with, and users have the better agency to be able to subscribe to the labelers that are more relevant to them. And yeah, so anyone can create a labeler. All you have to do is buy some server space and a domain name, configure the DNS, program the labeler, get it deployed behind a reverse proxy, set up the declaration record and the PLC operation, and then hope that the app view might notice it. I've been trying to do this all week, and Bluesky still hasn't noticed my labeler. So composable moderation is great, but you kind of end up with several smaller castles. And this isn't to downplay the moderation work that people are doing, because the people that were talking earlier today and yesterday are doing really incredible work. But there are also instances of this not going so well. I think a lot of people might remember one of the very early third-party labelers, Aegis, where that kind of blew up after a personal dispute. I don't know all of the details, but it's an example of, okay, it's not the company running it, but you still have these decisions made about what labels go on which posts behind closed doors and in concentrated hands. So yeah, I'm wondering how to break down these castle walls and add an additional layer, because with composable moderation, the cool thing is you have the ability to add these layers on top of, we have Bluesky doing moderation, we have third-party labelers running, but other sites like Wikipedia and Reddit have a wider ability to contribute and participate in how that content gets moderated. And so that's the motivation behind PMsky, is creating those building blocks to let the people who want to contribute to content moderation. I think Rudy earlier was saying how some people do really want to participate in this, but there's a really high barrier of entry in order to actually do that, between the technical know-how to run a labeler and also the desire to actually participate in that moderation. So yeah, how do we open up those decisions being made to more voices and make more perspectives heard more easily? And I think that there are a lot of pros and cons to this kind of approach. you could get a quicker response time. You could get more specific and potentially better people who are closer to issues at hand participating in those conversations. But those decisions and doing that moderation is a lot of intensive labor, and obviously attention is a very scarce resource nowadays. So yeah, this is not a fully encompassing solution, but it is trying to lower the barrier of entry to this kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Drew. So interested to see all this work and where we can apply labelers and that sort of social infrastructure piece. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if this is something that could be useful or helpful, if I can be helpful to anybody in their projects, I would love to chat.
Cool. Thank you.